Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to another Walking Dead video. So in this one here, I wanted to talk about the Walking Dead Dead City's ratings and a lot of the drama, I guess, surrounding the ratings here, because I find it kind of hilarious. It's one of those things where you see, oh, the ratings are bad for the Walking Dead Dead City, or at least that's what people are saying. And then you go look at a lot of other shows around right now and they're very similar. Yeah, that's just where cable is at right now. So I do want to get into this here and talk about some other shows and give a lot more context to this whole thing here. So before we go any further, make sure to be a subscriber if you do want to get all my Walking Dead content like this. I will be posting my Q&A video later on, so stay tuned for that. I already recorded everything and all that. I apologize that I didn't post any videos last couple of days. There's quite a bit of stuff that I do want to talk about for Dead City, but yeah, I'll get to that today and tomorrow. And then obviously episode 2 is just in exactly 2 days from now. And so I wanted to mention one quick thing here, and I saw this here actually from Hollywood Reporter, and this has to do with the success of The Walking Dead Dead City, and it's really interesting. So I'm just adding this here into the video here before I actually get into all the numbers in terms of the viewership and everything, because I saw this after I recorded everything. And it says here, when the company's series, The Walking Dead Dead City, returned for its second season, AMC Plus saw its biggest single day of direct-to-consumer subscriber acquisition since last year's season 2 premiere of The Walking Dead. Daryl Dixon, Dolan said, and I believe Dolan is one of the bosses at AMC. And so, you know, like just before this, they were praising Dark Winds actually, because obviously they're working on season 4 right now. And that's one of the interesting things I will say about, you know, The Walking Dead is that it seems like even though that show was very successful, and I believe that the cable numbers are pretty high, it doesn't necessarily mean that the streaming numbers for Dark Winds are even higher than The Walking Dead, just because of what we learned here about The Walking Dead Dead City, right? That season 2, well, at least episode 1 anyways, saw their biggest like single day of direct-to-consumer subscriber acquisition since season 2's premiere of The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon. So I think that makes a lot of sense. Like, you know, a lot of people watch AMC Plus for The Walking Dead. Like, that's why I got AMC Plus the other day, was because I watched The Walking Dead, right? So it just makes a lot of sense to me. Like, The Walking Dead is just, it's very successful, I would say, in terms of like the streaming numbers and all of that. And yeah, it was the biggest single day of, you know, I guess acquiring subscribers and all of that since The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon season 2, which I'm sure at that point, The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon season 2 was like their biggest day of getting subscribers in a single day since The Ones Who Live, right? Like, I imagine this is just always going to be a thing. Like, the next show, The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon season 3, is going to be their biggest single day of acquiring subscribers since, you know, the premiere of Dead City season 2. Like, it just makes sense to me, but it really does show that like The Walking Dead is a very big show for AMC, and the cable numbers don't necessarily say anything really at all anymore, because it does compare a lot with a lot of other shows, and it looks like in terms of streaming numbers, the show is overall doing amazing. So yeah, anyways. Yeah, so I guess let's just get into the viewership here for The Walking Dead Dead City. So the viewership for The Walking Dead Dead City episode 1 came in at 378,000. So obviously not close to 1 million. And I'm sure if you're used to looking at the ratings for The Walking Dead back in the day, you would have heard numbers like 6 million, 8 million, 3 or 4 million, right? Or when it was at its absolute like highest, like with season 4 and 5, it was like 17 million or something like that, right? So Dead City being at 378,000, well, that seems kind of insane, right? Well, no, it doesn't. Not when you're actually really looking at what's been happening with cable and a lot of how people watch the show now. So to put this into more context right now, The Penguin, which was a very, very successful show, right? Like The Penguin aired, I believe, last year, and the show was seen as a very big success overall. Like, a lot of people talked about that show. It was on HBO. Cable viewers for the premiere episode were at 242,000. So it did pick up afterwards to about 400,000. So, you know, a little bit closer to Dead City's numbers. And so when you're looking at it like that, it's like, well, Dead City literally is doing better than The Penguin, yet The Penguin was seen as a big success and The Walking Dead Dead City is not. I do have to mention as well that this is only US viewers, and so this is not worldwide at all. This is just US viewers and only cable viewers. And so if you watch on AMC Plus, then yeah, obviously your view is not counting towards this, right? And I watch on AMC Plus. I think most people watch on AMC Plus. I think most people nowadays watch, you know, television, I would say, through streaming services, because every single year cable viewership is just dropping, and that's just going to be a thing that's going to always continue happening unless somehow people, you know, I guess start watching more on cable again. But every single year, you know, cable is dropping because people aren't watching on cable anymore. It's just that is just a thing. And cable ratings drop pretty dramatically, like year by year. Like every single year, there seems to be a few 100,000 that are just like getting rid of cable, or I'm not sure what the number is, but it just seems like it based off of, looking at the viewership for not just anything for The Walking Dead, but a lot of other shows as well. It just seems like that's just where all shows are at right now. Like even going back to the very last season of The Walking Dead, which aired in 2021 and in 2022, the show overall was like around 1 to 2 million. Most of the episodes that I'm seeing here are around like 1.6, 1.5, 1.7. There's a 1.1, 1.3, a few of them at 1.3, 1.5, like around, I would say on average, maybe 1.5, 1.6 million, right? And was The Walking Dead, the final season, seen as a very big success? I would say that no, it wasn't anything too crazy, but it was just all right. For the numbers at the time, I think it did all right, right? And then you go to The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live, which aired, this is like a year or two later, right? And the ratings for this are much lower, like cable viewers anyways. US cable viewers are much lower than The Walking Dead final season. It's at 0.896, 0.880, so it's around 800,000, somewhere around there. But the weird thing at the time, though, was that the viewership for The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live, in terms of what AMC said anyways, was that the very first episode was like the most watched episode of any show ever on AMC+. And so remember, like The Walking Dead final season aired on AMC as well, and The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live. So The Walking Dead, the last season had, obviously US cable viewers in the millions, right? Like 1 to 2 million. The Ones Who Live was 800,000, around there anyways. And in terms of, streaming numbers, The Ones Who Live did a lot better. And it's because every single year that goes by, I think streaming numbers are generally going up because people watch more, I guess on streaming services now than cable, which makes a lot of sense. Like that's just going to be happening every single year more and more, at least at this current rate. And it's been happening for a very long time now, right? And AMC has talked about this before. Like this is just sort of a thing that is happening right now, and viewership will drop. Like honestly, The Ones Who Live, if it got a season 2 for US cable viewers, it's likely going to be way lower than this. Like my prediction would be like 300 to 500,000, because it depends on the year, right? Like if it was happening right now, I think the show would be bigger than Dead City, so maybe like 600,000 or 500,000. Like I'm just guessing, like this is literally just my opinion. I have no idea at all, but that's just sort of what cable viewership is like right now, right? And I think that if The Ones Who Live came out in a couple of years from now, the viewership might be a lot lower because people mostly watch on, on AMC Plus now, right? And just streaming services in general. That's just sort of what is happening right now, just in general. And so you go look at a show like The Last of Us right now, a show that is seen as a very big success. And this show is very successful. This show is all that anyone is talking about right now. Like everyone is talking about it. And this show right now is not even getting 1 million viewers. Like literally the last couple of episodes here, if you look at the premiere, like the very first episode, it was at 0.938, so 900,000, right? And that's for a show that is very, very successful. So that's kind of my point right now too, is just that that's where things are at right now. So is Dead City as big as The Last of Us? No, obviously not. I mean, it's not going to be. The Last of Us is like the main show, and Dead City is a spinoff, right? Like it's not going to be that at all. But is Dead City a failure and the show has to end? No, definitely not. And again, like I brought up the numbers before with The Penguin. That show was super successful, and you look at the numbers overall, they're around 200,000, 300,000, like just lower than The Walking Dead, Dead City. I mean, we'll see where Dead City goes, but like even if it drops to 200,000 or something like that, it's not anything that crazy at all, especially when you're looking at The Penguin, right? And if you look at Interview with the Vampire, a show that everyone really likes right now, right? That show in season 1, I would say for the most part was around 400,000 viewers. I would say like around there. The first 2 episodes had like 622,000, then 525, but then it dropped to like 440, 460,000. The season 2 premiere of this show actually had 282,000, which is lower than The Walking Dead, Dead City. Some episodes throughout this season here we're actually at 194, like literally 194, 185,000. And it's a couple of episodes where we don't have the ratings. And so I'm not sure why, like literally it could be because it's lower than 100,000. So I'm just guessing there. I have no idea. But my point is, even like with the ratings being this low for Interview with the Vampire, and again, this show here, and this was season 2, was seen as being very successful. This show got renewed on AMC for a season 3, right? And the ratings aren't as good as The Walking Dead, Dead City. So That's what I mean. When you're really looking at all of the ratings here overall, The Walking Dead Dead City isn't this show that is like very successful, like, oh, that's all that anyone's talking about or anything, but it is not a failure either. I think that it's fine. Like, the show is doing all right. It could be doing great. Like, honestly, it's doing better than a lot of shows on AMC, and it is also competing with The Last of Us right now. The Last of Us is airing at the same exact time as The Walking Dead Dead City. So there is that, right? Like, it's literally competing with that show right now. So I really just wanted to talk about this because I see a lot of people talking about the ratings being very, very bad, and like, you know, like, we don't care about this show, this and that, and we just want to see Rick and Daryl reunite. And it's like, I think those are separate arguments. You know, I want to see Rick reunite with Daryl. I want to see all of that. I do want the story to go there, but they want to tell other stories right now that I also am really enjoying a lot. I really do like Dead City. I really do like The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon. Wasn't a fan of season 2 that much, but you know, season 3 looks really exciting. And so I like where the story is going, and I like that they're building up to something here. And we don't know what the viewership is at all, you know, in terms of the streaming numbers for AMC Plus, but obviously, like, when you look at the numbers, I can't remember exactly where or how many subscribers they had for AMC Plus, but I think it was around like 10 to 12 million. Maybe it's dropped, maybe it's higher, but that was the last time I remember. And like, how many people are subscribing to watch The Walking Dead? I would imagine a lot, right? Like, even if you said 4 to 5 million of the 11, 12 million or whatever, right? Like, that's a lot. And again, I don't remember the exact numbers, but my point is, like, the show is obviously doing very great in terms of the numbers on AMC Plus, right? Now, AMC is not announcing that it was the most watched show in years, because obviously it is not. But that's sort of my point with it, is that The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live, like, that's what it was seen like, right? Like, the very first episode of The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live was very, very successful for AMC Plus, and was their most watched, I can't remember exactly what they said, but it was the most watched, I guess, episode of a show or something in the last, like, I believe it was like 6 years at the time. And I remember going back to, like, well, that would have went back to literally season 9, or like, it was season 8, season 9, somewhere around there, which is insane, right? But if you look at the cable viewership, it's lower than The Last of Us right now. Like, The Last of Us right now, even though people are complaining about the show, like, the numbers, or at least the premiere episode anyways, of season 2 is better than The Ones Who Live, which was seen as a very big success at the time, right? So that's why I'm just saying, overall, the US cable numbers really don't matter. And when you look at The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live, and you compare it to other shows like The Penguin, Interview with the Vampire, and I'm sure a lot of other shows out there, you're going to see very similar, you know, numbers overall. And The Walking Dead Dead City is doing better than both of those shows, at least in terms of US cable viewers. And again, it's only one episode. The show is competing with The Last of Us right now, so once that show is over, you could see the numbers start to jump up for The Walking Dead Dead City. And that's why they're talking about doing a season 3 and 4, right? Like, Jeffrey Morgan mentioned that, and they're planning to film this summer. I know there hasn't been any sort of like official announcement, but that usually doesn't happen like right away, right? So, like, I think overall, like, the show is honestly fine. For a Walking Dead spinoff, the show is actually doing great. Like, I think you could argue about, you know, the story if you don't like the story. You know, I'm enjoying the story, but maybe there are some that don't like where the story is going and they just want to see Rick come back. But I mean, like, that's the thing. Like, Rick coming back is always going to be, you know, the big thing here for the story. Like, that's, you know, seeing, I guess, Avengers Doomsday or something like that. Like, that's sort of the equivalent, right? Like, that movie's going to do absolutely crazy, but all the other movies aren't going to be as successful. So, I don't know. To me, overall, I just wanted to get into this here because I just see a lot of people talking about this, and I just feel like there's just a lot of, like, not liking Dead City. And that's the one thing that is kind of frustrating, is that there's a lot of, like, you know, people that like Dead City that don't like the other shows, or there's a lot of people that like The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon that don't like the other shows, or there's people that like The Ones Who Live that don't like the other ones. And that's fine, but there's just a lot of criticizing the other shows, which is just, to me, it's just like, just enjoy all of them. If you don't like them, you don't gotta say anything. Just, you don't have to watch. That's fine, right? Like, but for me, I like all the shows, some more than others. You know, some seasons are really good, but then the next season might not be good, kind of thing. Like The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon, I really like season 1. I didn't like season 2, but season 3 looks like it's going to be really good. And The Walking Dead Dead City right now seems like it's actually off to a really good start. So we'll have to wait and see where it goes overall. But yeah, anyways, I'm going to leave it here. Definitely post all your thoughts down below. Hope you all enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.